Germany, a nation that rebuilt itself from the ashes of World War II and became a symbol of modern democracy, is now facing a political storm from within. The alternative for Deutschland, better known as the AfD, was once a fringe group barely taken seriously. Today, it's winning regional elections, polling ahead of some mainstream parties, and shaking the foundations of Germany's political order. But how did a party labeled by many as far-right, extremist, and even dangerous manage to win the hearts of millions of Germans? This isn't just a protest movement, it's a reaction to something deeper. Rising immigration, fear of losing cultural identity, economic inequality, growing mistrust in the government. Many Germans feel ignored, silenced, and left behind, and the AfD has positioned itself as their voice. Not by softening its tone, but by leaning harder into controversy, nationalism, and populist fire. In this video, we will uncover the real reasons behind the AfD's explosive rise. We'll explore where they came from, what they believe, how they've gained power, and what this means for Germany's future. Is this just another political wave or the start of something much bigger? If you're ready to go beyond the headlines and understand the deeper forces shaping modern Germany, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more bold explorations into politics, culture, and power. Because what's happening in Germany right now could soon reshape Europe itself. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Origins of the AfD. To understand why the AfD is gaining power, we need to go back to its beginning, when it wasn't the fiery, anti-immigration party we know today. In 2013, the Alternative for Deutschland was born not out of nationalism, but out of frustration with the Eurozone crisis. Its founders were economists, professors, and center-right conservatives who opposed Germany's financial bailouts of struggling EU countries like Greece. Their message: Germany shouldn't have to pay for the failures of others. It was a party for fiscal hawks and Eurosceptics, more academic than aggressive. But that changed drastically in 2015, when over 1 million refugees, mostly from Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan, entered Germany during Angela Merkel's open-door migration policy. The political landscape shifted overnight. Fear and division spread quickly. Public concerns about terrorism, integration, and national identity surged, and the AfD seized the moment. The party rebranded itself fast. No longer just about the euro, it became the loudest voice against immigration, Islam, and what it called the Islamization of Germany. With fiery rhetoric and populist messaging, the AfD tapped into a deep vein of discontent that the traditional parties refused to acknowledge. New leaders rose to the front. Alexander Gauland, a former CDU member, helped give the party a nationalist tone. Alice Weidel, a sharp economist, became the face of its parliamentary group, openly gay but fiercely conservative. Then there's Björn HK, perhaps the most controversial figure in the party, known for statements that critics say flirt with neo-Nazi ideology. From its technocratic roots to its populist transformation, the AfD's journey reflects a deeper identity crisis in Germany. But what do you think? Is the AfD a reflection of real concerns being ignored, or a dangerous revival of the past? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more unfiltered dives into the world's most pressing political shifts. Chapter 2. Why the AfD is gaining power. The rise of the AfD isn't happening in a vacuum. It's fueled by a perfect storm of social tension, economic pressure, and political frustration. And to truly understand why they're gaining power, we need to break it down. It starts with immigration and the cultural anxiety it triggered. In 2015, Germany welcomed over 1 million refugees, mostly fleeing war in the Middle East. While many applauded the humanitarian response, others were overwhelmed by what felt like rapid, uncontrolled change. Suddenly, towns were housing newcomers with very different customs, languages, and faiths. Concerns about crime, social cohesion, and national identity took root. The AfD saw an opening and ran with it. They weren't subtle. They warned of a lost Germany, a culture under siege, and for many who already felt ignored, it struck a nerve. Then there's the economy. While Germany is wealthy on paper, not everyone feels that prosperity. In rural towns and old industrial areas, jobs are disappearing. The cost of living keeps climbing, and big cities thrive while small communities struggle. The AfD speaks directly to this divide. They promise to protect German workers, reject free trade deals, and prioritize locals over migrants. It's classic populist messaging, but it resonates. Add to that a growing disillusionment with traditional parties. CDU, SPD. The Greens, they're seen by many as out of touch, elitist, and full of empty promises. The AfD counters with a rebellious tone. They don't represent you, we do. And finally, there's Eastern Germany, a region that still feels the aftershocks of reunification. Lower wages, fewer opportunities, and a lingering sense of being second-class citizens. Here, in states like Saxony, Brandenburg, and Thuringia, the AfD isn't fringe, it's mainstream. So here's the question. Is the AfD giving a voice to the forgotten, or exploiting fear for political gain? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we're listening. And if you're finding value in this breakdown, hit like, share it, and subscribe for more honest, in-depth analysis on the forces shaping our world. Chapter 3. AfD Strategy and Tactics. The AfD didn't just stumble into power, it carefully built a playbook. And in today's digital age, their strategy has been sharp, calculated, and undeniably effective. Let's start with where they dominate, social media. While traditional parties rely on press conferences and polite sound bites, the AfD plays the algorithm like a symphony. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, they flood these platforms with punchy clips, viral memes, and bold headlines. Their content doesn't aim to persuade, it aims to provoke. The more outrage it generates, the wider it spreads. Memes mocking the government, dramatic crime stories involving migrants, or emotional appeals to protect German values. They're not just speaking to their base, they're recruiting new followers, especially among the young and disillusioned. Then there's the victim narrative. When media outlets criticize the AfD for hate speech or extremist ties, the party doesn't retreat, it fights back. It paints itself as the underdog, silenced by elites and censored by the system. Banned from public debates, that's proof of media bias. Intelligence agencies monitoring them, they call it political persecution. This us versus them framing galvanized supporters. The message is clear: we're not dangerous. We're dangerous to the establishment, and that's why they fear us. But perhaps the most subtle and effective tactic is normalization. The AfD has quietly inserted itself into local politics, town councils, school boards, small mayorships. It's not flashy, but it's strategic. Local exposure softens their image. Suddenly, it's not the radical party on the news, it's the guy next door on the city council. And from there, they push boundaries slowly, making extreme ideas sound just a bit more acceptable. This isn't accidental, it's methodical. So what do you think? Are these smart political moves or manipulative tactics that threaten democracy? Drop your opinion in the comments, we want to hear your voice. Like this video if it makes you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more fearless, in-depth analysis on global power shifts. Chapter 4. The Controversies and Red Flags. As the AfD gains power, the alarm bells are getting louder. Because behind the rise, the strategy, and the slogans, there's a darker undercurrent that can't be ignored. Germany's own domestic intelligence agency, the Verfassungsschutz, has placed parts of the AfD under surveillance. That's not something taken lightly in a country where history demands vigilance. Officials cite anti-constitutional behavior, racial incitement, and ties to extremist networks. This isn't just political mudslinging, it's a legal step usually reserved for groups that threaten democratic order. And yet, despite the scrutiny, the AfD has only grown stronger in the polls. To some, that's proof the system is overreacting. To others, it's proof the threat is real. Then there's the web of connections to far-right extremist groups. Members of the AfD have attended protests and rallies alongside known neo-Nazis and white nationalist organizations. While party leaders deny formal ties, the lines often blur. Whether it's coordinating messages online, sharing platforms, or simply refusing to distance themselves from hate groups, the overlap raises serious questions. But perhaps the most disturbing red flag is the relativization of the Holocaust by certain AfD figures. One of the party's most controversial voices, Björn HK, once referred to Berlin's Holocaust Memorial as a monument of shame. Statements like that have drawn fierce backlash from historians, survivors, and even fellow politicians, but inside the party, such rhetoric often boosts popularity instead of ending careers. Germany has spent decades confronting its past so it doesn't repeat itself. And yet here we are with the growing party testing the boundaries of memory, identity, and law. What do you think? Is the AfD just politically incorrect, or is it crossing lines that should never be crossed? Let's talk in the comments, your voice matters. And if you value honest, fearless analysis, hit like, share, and subscribe. History isn't just behind us, it's being written right now. Chapter 5. What this means for Germany and Europe. The rise of the AfD isn't just a German story, it's part of a much larger shift, and its consequences are rippling far beyond Berlin. First, let's talk about Germany itself. The country once known for post-war stability is now grappling with growing political fragmentation and polarization. The center-right and center-left parties that dominated for decades are losing ground, while the extremes, both left and right, are gaining momentum. Coalitions are getting harder to form. Trust in government is slipping. Debate is turning into division. And the AfD's presence in parliaments, especially at the regional level, is forcing uncomfortable questions onto the national agenda, questions about race, religion, borders, and who belongs. But it doesn't stop there. Across Europe, far-right parties are watching and learning. In Austria, the Freedom Party is rising again. In the Netherlands, Geert Wilders shocked the establishment with major election wins. In France, Marine Le Pen's National Rally is no longer a fringe movement, it's a real contender for power. What happens in Germany sends a signal. If the AfD can grow in a country with such a dark far-right past, then any country can. This wave also brings a major challenge to the European Union itself. The EU was built on shared values, openness, democracy, cooperation. But as nationalist voices grow louder, those values are being tested. AfD leaders have called for Germany to leave the EU, or at least dramatically weaken it. Similar anti-Brussels sentiments echo across the continent. So what's at stake? Not just elections, not just headlines, but the future of liberal democracy in Europe. What's your take? Are we seeing a necessary course correction, or the start of something dangerous? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want real voices, not just sound bites. Like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth coverage on the forces shaping tomorrow's world. Chapter 6. What's next? So where is this all heading? Germany stands on the edge of a political crossroads. In the next year, several key state elections will take place, especially in eastern regions like Saxony, Thuringia, and Brandenburg, where the AfD is already polling in first place. If these trends hold, the AfD could soon control state governments for the first time in history. That's no longer speculation, it's becoming a real possibility. Then there's the 2025 federal election. If support continues to grow, the AfD could become the second largest party in the Bundestag, or even the largest in some states. This raises a tense question. Will mainstream parties ever consider forming coalitions with the AfD? So far, all major parties, including the CDU, SPD, and Greens, have publicly declared that they won't work with the AfD under any circumstances. But as votes shift and coalitions become harder to build, the pressure to compromise may grow. Some voices on the conservative right are already pushing to rethink the taboo. The danger isn't just in whether the AfD gains formal power, it's in how its influence reshapes the political landscape. Already, you can see traditional parties adjusting their rhetoric, taking a harder stance on immigration, and avoiding issues that could alienate conservative voters. In some ways, the AfD is pulling the entire spectrum further to the right without ever entering government. If the mainstream wants to counter this surge, they can't just shout far-right threat and hope it fades. They need to rebuild trust, listen to real concerns, and offer answers that speak to people's fears without fueling division. What do you think? Will Germany hold the line, or is the dam already cracking? Drop your predictions in the comments below. We're listening. And if you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit like, share, and subscribe. The next chapter of this story is being written right now and you won't want to miss it. Germany stands at a crossroads again. A nation that once vowed never again now finds itself confronting hard questions about identity, democracy, and the boundaries of political discourse. The rise of the AfD isn't just about one party, it's about what kind of future Germans want to build, and what kind of Europe will emerge from this moment. History doesn't always repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And as frustration turns into votes, and protest becomes power, we all need to ask, are we listening to the real concerns driving this movement, or just shouting over them? Are we defending democracy with honesty and action, or with silence and slogans? This isn't the time to tune out, it's a time to dig deeper, ask uncomfortable questions, and stay informed. The headlines won't tell the full story, but you can read, research, reflect, and most importantly, engage. So now it's your turn. What do you think Germany should do next? Is the AfD a wake-up call or a warning sign? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every one. And if you found this deep dive insightful, Don't just move on, be part of the conversation. Like this video to support independent analysis. Share it with someone who needs to understand what's happening. And subscribe for more fearless, in-depth explorations of the political shifts shaping our world. Because democracy isn't just something you vote for, it's something you fight to understand. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video.